Welcome back, class. This video is going to discuss today's entrance ticket questions and answers, so please make sure you pay attention so you can understand how to complete the assignment. So as you can see in this slide here, this is our third unit, graphic design. Before I get into anything today, please make sure that, if you can see my mouse here, that you are required to download the Autodesk Sketchbook program for this assignment. So please go into your student app portal to find this and download it. It looks like this icon right here with the orange square and the pencil. So please make sure you have that downloaded so you can complete the assignment. And as you can see in the images below, that graphic design is art that's created digitally by combining images and text. So here you have this little character that started off with this pencil line drawing, and then later is filled in with color, with light and shadow to add a level of realism and detail. And then even down here, just this box that says graphic design, that essentially is graphic design. They're combining images and text to create an image digitally. So what the takeaway from this here is just like the introduction of what your assignment should look like, or kind of the direction we're going in. And what's really neat in this image, you can see these different layers, these different panels as you follow my mouse here. That's the really neat thing about digital art, is that you can create these different layers, these different sections, one for your line drawing, one for fine detail, one for color, so that you can always go back to something that you may have made a mistake on to correct it. But going on to your definition, I already stated this definition, but graphic design is the art of digitally combining text and images. So these are the same images as the slide before this. If you need to, please pause this video so you can write down this definition for your entrance ticket. But I'm not going to discuss this any further because I already discussed this in the last slide. So your follow-up question for the entrance ticket is, how have technologies changed the way artwork is presented and experienced? So we're basically thinking about the history of graphic design and how things have changed. This is a brief timeline, but I'm going to go to 2 more slides just to discuss the history so we can come back and answer this question. So here we have the history of graphic design. So you can see just by this screenshot here all the different graphic design images and how they've changed. So moving forward, I'm not going to read these verbatim. I just want to kind of introduce these. So graphic design basically started in the 1760s to 1700s, so it's well over 200 years ago, and it's basically a method of printing that involves inking your design to a stone or metal surface, and then you basically just print that onto the paper. Then in the 1890s, a little over 100 years later, you had the Art Nouveau, and Art Nouveau is a global design movement. It heavily influenced architecture, fashion, and graphic design. Basically with this, you're looking at a lot of lines and organic shapes that are based on plant forms. Everything's very fluid in the design, not quite as clean and crisp as lithography. And then you have in 1947, almost yet another 100 years later, you have the corporate logos. And this is a very common logo. I'd be willing to bet most of you have seen this. You have IBM down here. So this started in 1947. And basically, a guy named Paul Rand refined advertising by fusing words and pictures into one symbol. So just one symbol instead of a whole scene to basically describe the company itself. And then moving on to the next slide, then we have postmodernism 30 years later in the 1970s. This image on the right of Marilyn Monroe, the famous actor and singer from the mid-1900s. This was created by the artist Andy Warhol, and these kind of prints focused on pop art and conceptualism. Basically, you have like a lot of cookie cutter kind of images with various colors going on, and then you have digital tools. Right down here, it's really neat because you're going to see these same tools that my mouse is pointing on over here on this image in your Sketchbook program, because even though these digital tools, actual digital design on the computer started in the 1990s, a lot of these tools actually are still used today, and they've improved, of course, over time. The symbols stay relevant, and that's why this lesson is so neat, because even professional graphic designers and artists, even animators in Disney and Pixar, they use these same tools and symbols when creating their art, their animations. But this is basically self-explanatory regarding digital tools. And then graphic design, finally, 30 years later in 2020, one could argue that graphic design is more prevalent in our lives than ever before. Graphics greet us on every social network, mobile app, and web page, and marketers and businesses use design every day to grow their brands and forge connections with audiences across the world. So just like here, you have this image, this Coca-Cola image, and the text says they don't make them like they used to, but we do. And here you have an image of the famous rock legend Elvis Presley, and you have the repeated image of the Coke can at the bottom, and then even his sideburns that he was known for is shaped like a Coke bottle, but basically saying that our product stays the same because it's so great, and a lot of other companies don't do that. But just to wrap up your follow-up question here, I know this video is a little longer than some, but it's important to delve into the history of graphic design so we can answer our question, how have technologies changed the way artwork is presented? And the answer is basically technology has, at this point, currently, has allowed us to create everything digitally on the computer. We no longer have to create prints. We no longer have to, hand paint these images. We no longer have to have a studio of people help us make this stuff, and we can just be made right on the computer, clean, easy. It can be presented worldwide just by a click of a button via email to attach it to a website for people can click on. So it's a much cleaner, faster, mass way of creating digital art and quickly distributing it really to the whole world, and not just, posting these things up on walls or buildings for people to look at locally. But that's basically how you would answer the question. Again, you can discuss any of these movements regarding lithography, corporate logos, any of this, basically how it's changed and how we look at digital art now as compared to the mid-1700s. All right, well, I hope this video has helped you with your entrance ticket questions, and this was a longer video than I normally would have liked. I do look forward to seeing your grading your entrance tickets. You guys should get an easy 2 points, and then after that, you should be submitting a list of your product, what your logo is going to look like, what your product is, and you're basically going to continue that list, trying to sell that product. Why do I want to buy it? Where do I buy it? How much does it cost? Do you have a catchy slogan? So again, after this video, just do your entrance ticket, and then please just submit that short list to help brainstorm and get you started on your project for next class. All right, guys, I look forward to grading your projects, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.